Hello, Worship Arts. Happy week of April 13th to the 19th to all of you. I hope you had a good Easter weekend. I hope you had time to be able to reflect on the good news of the empty tomb, the good news of Christ's resurrection that we took time to celebrate and reflect on this weekend. And then hopefully Easter Monday yesterday, which isn't part of necessarily our church calendar as much as it's just a day that we continue to kind of try to take a day of rest. Hopefully that also then was a day you got to do that and set aside some time for a break. Now that it's Tuesday then, we are going to get started for everything we're going through this week. For Worship Arts for this week, we're going to get kind of back into the flow then with our getting back to our routine of our reflections. We're still going to pause our John study for a little bit, just because I don't want to overload us this week, as again, it's still technically supposed to be a 4-day week this week. So we have 2 reflections for you to do, as well as then a discussion I want to have you all take part in on Turnitin. For the reflections, there's one devotion and one song for you to kind of go through. Keep in mind, again, just as a reminder with these reflections, I'm not asking you only to talk about if you like the song or if you like the devotion or not. You're always welcome to include that too as part of your reflections, the whole how you feel about the song or devotion in the first place. But keep in mind the whole general point of what I'm trying to hopefully have you kind of go through in those processes is discussing how that source, whatever it is, if it's a song or a devotional, how it impacts and shapes you as a worship leader. Some of you are doing a great job with this. There's just a couple that I want to kind of refine where you're going with these. So you can obviously start them, of course, with I loved this song, or I don't really like this song that much, but, and then talk through lyrics or feel or environment of it, and talk through the whole, as a worship leader, I can grow by focusing on this, or I can grow by taking this part of the devotional really seriously, or things like that. And that's the heart of what it is that we're looking for with these reflections. So you have 2 of those to do this week. Go through those, type those up in the next few days so you don't have to kind of jam those into your weekend. And then the discussion I'd like you to take part in on turnitin.com is I want you to kind of think back on this past weekend, Easter reflection. With whatever you're comfortable sharing with it, I'm asking you to kind of reflect on how your Easter weekend was, and how you took time to be able to reflect on what Easter weekend exists to reflect on. And if you didn't, if you kind of, it just was a weekend where you just slept and watched movies or something, you're not going to get graded down on that. I'm interested in all of us being able to kind of see how even in the midst of everything we're going through, how maybe some or most, or hopefully all of us, we're still able to have Easter be Easter, be a day in which we reflect on the resurrection of Christ. So respond to that. The second part of the questions for the discussion then also asks you to talk through how that Easter message, the message of Christ defeating death, the message of Christ overcoming the grave, how we can still find joy in that message, even in the midst of what we're going through right now. And even if that's something that you yourself are struggling to find, maybe just try to talk about how maybe you might not necessarily be feeling that way, but here's ways it could make sense for our situation. So make your own response, and then I want you to reply to the posts of 2 of your classmates as well, with discussion furthering replies, so that we can all be in kind of conversation with each other, even if we're physically apart from one another. So that's all for the week. 2 reflections and then a discussion to take part in. Hopefully this is, again, another bit of a lighter week to help you kind of handle some of the things from other classes, or catch up on things if you're missing, or just having a week which is relatively manageable. So 2 reflections and discussion. With that, I miss all of you very much. It's officially weird that we're still online at this point. It just doesn't feel normal or routine yet to think that we're having this class and not meeting in the church lounge 3 times a week to be together, to learn together, to grow together. But know that that God is still with you, that Jesus is there with you every step of the way with what it is that we're all going through right now, and that Christ is there to listen to you if you feel like you're alone, because I know loneliness might be something that we're all going to struggle with here and there throughout this time, but know that Christ is always with you, and you do have a family of people here in this class and at your school, family of people that care about you, are thinking about you, are praying for you. So with that, may Christ's grace and peace be with you. God bless you throughout this week. I miss you guys, and I look forward to seeing your reflections. God's peace, guys.